Hello, Flosstube, and welcome back. Well, I don't know how long it is. It feels like about 100 years since I did a Flosstube video. I'm very sorry. The sort of short answer for why did it take you so long to record another Flosstube is I've hardly done any stitching. The longer answer for why that is, I'll get into a little bit at the end of this video. I did try and record 2 weeks ago, just over 2 weeks ago. I recorded twice. Both times I lost the recording. Yeah, so it's been like that, really. Anyway, welcome back. If you're a subscriber, welcome. If you're new here, thank you for signing up, even when there's been very little new content. I hope you enjoy what you find here. Do stick around, do share with other people, do like and subscribe and all of that jazz. I am Ros Clark. This is my channel on YouTube, is Ros Clark Craft. I'm also Ros Clark Craft on Instagram, Etsy and Patreon. There we go. More on those later, or not, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, what have I got to show you? Because there hasn't been an awful lot of stitching. I have got a swap in Stitchy Kindness. I'll show you what I received, but I'll also talk about what I sent. I'm going to do like a little mini WIP parade. I don't usually do WIP parades because I don't usually like to have a lot of WIPs. But I seem to have found myself in a situation where I've got quite a lot more WIPs than I really am comfortable with. So I thought I would quite like to get them out and have a look at them and work out a plan going forward. And so maybe you might like to see that as well. I've got a little bit of Stitchy plan and a little bit of a Patreon update, and like I say, there'll be a little bit of a life update at the end as well. So first of all, let me show you. This is what I received in the Across the Pond Stitch and Chat Summer Smalls Swap. Ta-da! Isn't that great? Do what you love. Do you know, it's funny. She told me where she found this in a magazine. I'm like, I've never heard of that magazine. So I went searching for it. Anyway, it was a special edition of maybe the World of Cross Stitching or Cross Stitch. I think the World of Cross Stitching. They'd done a special edition collecting together sort of contemporary style patterns. And I do remember it. And actually I had looked through it and I remember thinking, oh, I really like that one. In the magazine, it was on a white background or an off-white background. I love this sort of coral pinky colour that she's done, and I love that she's just gone ahead and done all the colours with it. It's a super fun finish with the rickrack trim and the backing, and then this little sort of clipboard, so that obviously you could sit this here, but you could switch things in and out. And she sent it with this lacy trim which you could use to hang it up. I think I might end up just sort of leaning it against something, so I've tied the trim in a little bow just to sit at the top. But I think that's super cute and very me. So it was really nice to receive. And I just really enjoyed it. It was such a great parcel. It came from Kelly. I can't remember her. Was it Kerry? That's awful. I will put her, yeah, details on screen. I think she was Kelly. Anyway, she's in Ireland. She sent me this, which is obviously designed to be like a book rest, but you could certainly use it as a pattern holder, chart holder while you're stitching. I prefer to stitch on PDF, and I have a stand that I use for my iPad, which is a little bit more adjustable than this. But I think I would use this as a display piece. I think you could put a finished cross stitch. I mean, this one's already pretty well finished, but you get the idea, this sort of thing. I think it might look quite nice with a hoop in it as well. I think in the sign up form you got to say what your favorite colors were, and I mean, yeah, you may be able to guess what I put in that box. So that was really fun. She sent me 3 skeins of DMC. Again, you see there may be a color theme coming here. Those are very nice. They've been at the bottom of a basket of mine. They were not slightly scruffy when she sent them. They were all in lovely pristine condition. What have I got? 3705, 3708 and 3831. Lovely. These, which are great. I really love these floss rings for holding your floss tops on. They're the kind that screw in, but I don't think I'd ever seen them in fun colours before. So these are super cool. There's pinks and purples and orange and turquoise. So I really, really like those. Pretty needle minder. Pretty. Super cute. This is a little, I thought it might be scissors, but it's actually a needle threader, I think. If I can remember. Oh, that's right. It doesn't pull off. It works out like that. Yeah. Needle threader. I don't know if you can see, but super cute. And this, I think, was my favourite thing, almost, at the end, which I just thought was really fun. So it's this jar, and it's got like a vinyl thing on the front that says "to be stitched." And she sent it with this little pad of notepad where you fill in the project name, the designer, and where you've put it. So this you'd use it for kitted projects, but actually you don't have to use it for kitted projects. You could just use it for things that you've thought of that you'd like to stitch, and then when you've got a moment you're like, oh, I just want a new start, or I want something to work on, I seem to have lost all inspiration, you just reach into your little jar of things to be stitched, and there you go, things to be stitched. So it was a super fun parcel. There was also chocolate. There is not now chocolate. Yeah, that's as it often is. But you know what chocolate looks like. It was very nice. It was pistachio and raspberry white chocolate bark. So that was good. It was very good. So Kelly was my sending partner, but my person that I was sending to was Ruth. She is Pixielicious on Instagram, and she had said her favourite colours were magenta, blue and purple, and she wanted something summer themed. And so I was having a look through various places for inspiration, and this is what I came up with. I think I've recorded a little video of this, which I'm going to put in here, but if not, I'm afraid it will just be a photograph, but it's this. I'm just filming right now because I'm about to go out and I need to post this. So I'm being one of those very organised floss tubers who remembers to film about something before they send it away to somebody else. So I'll be back later to do the rest of my video, and I have various things to talk about. But what I want to show you right now is a start, finish and fully finished object since I last filmed. And it is this. This is, I think it's called Sunrise Cottage. It's by Pigeon Coop Designs. I admit in my head it's always been a sunset, but you know, sunset, sunrise, whatever. I love Pigeon Coop Designs. I love how graphic but also realistic and representational they are. I love the silhouette on this. That's really what sold it to me. I thought that was just brilliant. So I'm not quite sure what the fabric is. I had this piece of dark blue. I don't know if it's 36 or 40 count, to be honest. I think it might be 40 count, but I wouldn't swear to it. It might be 36 count. And it was in dark blue, and I just wanted that silhouette to have even more contrast. So I took some dye-based black paint and painted some over, which added to the mottling, and I think it's worked out really well. I need to put a note in, so it's probably not waterproof. I mean, I don't wash it. I'm trying to think. I did use the steam on the iron when I was ironing it, and nothing has bled, but nonetheless, I wouldn't recommend washing it. I did my own colours, so it's Roxy Flossco from the pink, which is back to the fuchsia. There's a gentle art in there, actually, which I keep forgetting about. That's hibiscus. Then that's Weskerly Wabbit, daffodil, maybe lemon drop. And then the blues are DMC. I really enjoyed stitching that. It's not a huge stitch, but obviously mine is quite tiny because it's quite tiny fabric. And then I painted my hoop. So my partner, her preferences for colours were purple, magenta and blue. And as soon as I saw this, I just thought, oh, I think that's really going to suit. So this is just a bamboo hoop that I painted in a beautiful dark purple, which I think I didn't want something bright that was going to take away, sort of detract from the centre, but I don't know, I didn't want to do it in black. But I think the dark purple works quite well. I have used black felt on the back. I'm just going to hold it up because I can't see in real life, but on the camera you can see a couple of little bits that are stuck to it. So that's that. So hopefully you've seen that. I'm going to say, was it a fun stitch? No, because it was dark fabric in a high cow and I didn't have the eyes for it. But that was not the fault of the pattern. The pattern was great. I really enjoyed the pattern. I just think Pigeon Coop, their designs are so refined and, you know, they look simple, but they're really well thought through. And I really enjoyed how that pattern came together. So it's called, I think it's called Sunrise Cottage, or even though I tended to think of it as a sunset. So that was the sort of stitchy swap that I've been doing. What else have I been stitching on? Well, like I said, not a whole lot. So the thing which should have been finished, I do feel a lot of this episode is brought to you by the menopause. So anyway, this is part of the Ink Circles round robin that I am doing with Lizzie from This Mrs. Fisher Stitches and with oh, honestly, anyway, two other ladies. This is Lizzie's piece. So this is Elemental Dragons Water, and this is the section that she stitched that is complete, and this is the section that I have stitched, and you can see I've done all of the dark blue. So it's charted as a monochromatic pattern, but Lizzie decided she wanted it stitched in two colours. It's a paint box silk for the dark blue, and it's a Karen Water Lilies for the variegated sea colours. And I've done a little bit of the variegated sea colours on mine, and then I lost the thread. So I was on holiday in Scotland for a couple of weeks. I'd taken it with me to finish. I did all the blue. I was about to do the, you know, the aqua colour. Couldn't find it anywhere. I'm like, it's fine. I'm pretty sure it's at home. I'm pretty sure I know where it is at home. Anyway, I've searched everywhere at home and it's not in any of the places it might be. So I have confessed to Lizzie, and I'm like, if you tell me what, you know, colourway it is, I'm very happy to get a replacement. She's like, oh no, I've got more. I'll send it to you. I mean, thank you. It's very trusting of you that I won't just lose that as well, because Karen Water Lilies is not cheap. These are all silk threads. They're lovely to work with. It's on a printed background fabric. It's 18 count Ada. I'm just trying to see if I can remember. Is it printed on here? Yeah, it's Lakeside Needlecraft in aquamarine. And it's a really nice sort of pale aquas and slightly greys and mottled background that gives a really nice watery effect with the really nice watery pattern. So again, fun to stitch. Yeah, no, it was fun to stitch. Because the Ink Circles patterns are so much based around symmetry, and also because this is not for me, it's for someone else, there was more unstitching than I like to do, really. But you do really have to make it match. So I did do some unstitching. But yeah, but I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. We're supposed to have sent this piece on to the next person by the 15th of July. I'm filming this on the 13th. I've run out of the thread. I haven't run out of thread. I've lost the thread. I've admitted it to you. Stop pretending that it was all innocent. I mean, I kind of feel as soon as Lizzie sends me some replacement, I'm sort of hoping that the original bobbin of it will turn up, but I don't know what to do about that. So anyway, that is on the naughty step. It will get finished as soon as she sends the thread and sent on to the next person. So it is a WIP, hopefully not for very long. Right, what else have I got? So some of these are pretty pitiful. I mean, prizes for guessing what chart this is and which way up it goes. I think maybe this way. I can't quite, no, I think maybe that way. I can't quite remember. Anyway, I mean, it's pathetic, isn't it? So I can tell you what this is and when I started it and why. I can't really tell you why I haven't made any more progress than that, because that is pathetic. It is Il Pleut, which is a free pattern of an umbrella by a designer whose name is French that I have forgotten. It's a freebie on Casa Sanina, and Sarah of Sew Me Sarah started this as one of her Fun for 50 stitch along pieces, and I was the one who pointed the pattern out to her. She likes umbrellas, so I said, oh, do you know there's this freebie? And so she started that. I think she started it like on the week of my 50th birthday, so I'm like, oh, I'm going to join in. I wanted to stitch that anyway. You know, I downloaded the chart, I'd got this fabric and floss, and I did like maybe an hour. I don't know if I'm going to finish that. So I'm going to put that on the maybe pile because that was a bit pathetic. What else? This one, okay. This is Firenze. So I think in my last Flosstube video I was talking a little bit about my holiday in Tuscany, which included a day out in Florence. And as part of that, for my Patreon in June, I did a number of sort of Italian themed things. I did a post about Italian cross-stitch designers, post about Assisi stitch, some videos of the Italian artisan makers that we got to see, various things. And I did a little cross-stitch design based on a sketch that I'd made of the skyline in Florence. And I started stitching it up. This was supposed to be the model. And then I stopped because actually, after I started stitching this up, I made some changes to the chart, which would require unstitching really quite a lot of this. And at the time, I could not face it. So I don't know if I will or not. I'm more likely to just start the whole thing again than finish this. So that can go on the same pile as Il Pleut, and we'll think about it. Right, what else? Well, this is sort of a work in progress, although not my work in progress. So this is the next ink circles around Robin piece that I've already been sent, because everybody else is very organised apart from me. So this is arranging the sewing kit. I do really love this one, and honestly, part of me thinks if I can get on and finish this relatively quickly, we've got ages. We gave ourselves loads of time on the round robin. I would actually quite like to stitch this for myself while I've got the chart in my possession. So I've got to finish a quarter of this. Obviously, this is not one that has sort of four-way symmetry. This has two-way symmetry. So I need to do one of these top sections. So I really don't think that will take very long. And then, like I say, I might just stitch the whole thing. I'm just looking on the chart. What is it? It's about 90 by 60, less than 60. So it's, yeah. Oh, there we go. This is Claire. And what's the other name? It's dreadful. It's dreadful. Anyway, this is Claire, who also very kindly sent a little needle minder for each of us in the package. So that was very sweet of her as well. So that is going to be definitely on the to-do list. I need to do the dragons, and then I need to do that. Right, what else have we got? Okay, this is going a little bit further back into the midst of time. This is Dream of a Winter Garden. Well, it's not. It's a tiny part of the top border of Dream of a Winter Garden by Jacob for Modern Folk Embroidery. Obviously, my colours. I think these are a Verissoir. I think this is Vigart Platinum. It seems to have a little mark on it. That'll be from me rather than anything else. But I think the mark is sufficiently far away from the stitching that you won't see it. Or I might even be able to get it out. Who can say? Anyway, yeah, that's not the world's largest dot. I do really like this. I really love the colours. I would like to stitch it sometime. Yeah. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, this also is not completely... Oh, no, it is. Yeah, okay. Please enter your pin. That's from the freebie from, I think, is it Puntini? And then there's like a tomato pin cushion that's supposed to be here, which I seem to have just cut this fabric off in like just a really random way. Anyway, so I had a plan, and I still sort of have a plan, for a whole series of sort of sewing themed stitches. Yeah, that's as far as that ever got. Gosh, this is bad. Okay, now this is sort of finished, but also sort of not. So this one is Sting Like a Bee, which is finished. But when I met Justine Stitching at Stitch in London, she had done, well, we'd already agreed to do a swap, because she had Float Like a Butterfly and I had Sting Like a Bee, and so we swapped the tucks. And then we were like, actually, they look really great together. She'd done hers, I think, on Fox and Rabbit ballet slippers, and mine was Fox and Rabbit up in the attic. And she has sent me, and I gave her a piece of this, and she sent me a piece of hers. So it's sort of in progress, but not, you know, technically I have finished a chart, but I'm going to finish this chart and then put the two pieces together. So that is also in the pile. I haven't got the fabric here, but I definitely have got the fabric. Unless it's in a pile with the thread from Lizzie. Oh dear. Right, what have I got in here? Oh, this is a WIP, definitely. This is a just abandoned in the middle for no reason WIP. I've made even less style in it than I thought. This is Spring Wreath by Tiny Modernist, and I love it. I think it's super pretty. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed doing the, I mean, we say backstitch, it's not really backstitch, it's sort of long stitch or straight stitch, but I think the colours are just really adorable. I love the little gnome. Yeah, I should finish that. Those are my flosses, super pretty. Yeah, okay, that's in the WIP pile. I don't know if you're keeping count of how many these are. I might count up in the end, because for someone who really doesn't like more than 1 or 2 WIPs, I've got quite a lot. Okay, this one, you have seen this before, and there's been no progress since I last worked on it. This is my Gecko Rouge full coverage Paxton's Tower and Cottage. So I made some good progress on this and got a page finish in April, and then I didn't pick it up again since. So that's that. That is Roxy Floss Co. Razzmatazz that I'm stitching it on, which is an 18 count Ada. It is full coverage, but I'm stitching 1/1 on the 18 count. I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. And so the fabric colour does show through a little bit, which I'm quite liking. I think you can see it most clearly so far on the house. So instead of looking really white, it's got a slight pinkish tinge to it. And I think that'll really work, sort of unifying the colour of the whole thing. And I'm possibly going to leave some of the sky unstitched because the colour of the fabric is so good. Here's the picture. And you see what I mean about the sky colour. So we'll see when I get there, if I ever get there. When I get there, I will get there. Right. It's quite a lot, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I mean, I know 8 is not a lot in the great world of Flosstube where people have got 437, but I find it quite a lot. I also have one unfinished object which is not currently in progress, so I don't count that in my WIP pile, but one day I will go back to it and finish it, and that's A Saviour's Praise from Shakespeare's Peddler. And then I have actually got one more as well. Now, this is going to be my next stitch along. I loved doing the Celebration of Colour stitch along earlier this year, and so I've been thinking about what might I want to do as another stitch along. Now, when I say in progress, that's the stitching I've done. So, you know, really not a huge amount, and probably not enough to give you a clear idea of what it's going to be about. But I've got some other stuff that I've been working on for it that I am going to show you, and will help to give some indication of the kind of project it's going to be. So I've been working on some little hexagons. These are pretty. Some are plain, some are patterned. Let me see if I can find my very, very favourite one. Oh, well, this is one of my very favourite ones because it's got a little dog on it. Although, yeah, well, no, the dog is sort of relevant, but there we go. So the fabric that I'm using for these hexagons is Tilda fabric, and the pattern ones is in the Windy Days collection. I was able to buy a jelly roll of this. It's not her newest collection, and it may not be in stock everywhere. You don't absolutely need any particular fabric for this, and I'm doing a lot of these in plain. I've bought Tilda as well. These are Tilda chambray fabrics, which have got just this nice slightly more muted colour. And I've got here, I think, my current choice of DMCs for this stitch along. It's not going to be like the Celebration colour, which is very much pick your own adventure. It is going to have a lot of options to pick your own adventure, but there will be certainly I don't really like called for. I don't call for things. You do whatever you want. It's your stitching, but suggested floss colours, shall we say. So this is what I've got. There are some greens, some pinks, some blues, some slightly orangey browny colours. I think it's a really pretty colourway, and in fact, if I show you the rest of the jelly roll, you'll also get a sense of the kind of colours that I'm working with. You will be free to choose your own colours and your own fabric, but this is my palette that I'm using for this project. And like I say, there will be a lot of options for how you do it, how big you want to make it, how much cross stitch you want to do, how many of the sort of non-cross stitch hexagons you want to do. You know, are you going to make an entire queen size bed quilt? I mean, good luck with that. I will not be doing that size project, but also options for really quite small limited projects. Some of you might remember the thing I did last year, which was a design by Kathy Haberman of Hands On Designs, and I think she's got 2 or 3 others that are similar to this, where you cross stitch little hexagons, 6 of them, and then applique them onto fabric. And she made hers into a pinkish and I made mine just into a hoop finish. You know, there will be options if you just want to do it that level, half a dozen little hexagons and call it good. So I'm pretty excited about it. I'm hoping we might start in September. Potentially it is quite a long stitch along. I haven't quite worked out all the details yet, but it will be very relaxed. You know, obviously a few months after September is Christmas, so you know, it'll be very relaxed over that because people are very busy. But potentially it will go on for a little while, and I'm really excited about it. More details soonish when I get some progress on them. So I think that's all the stitching I've done. That's all the stitchy kindness I've had. That's all the plans I've got. Need to do the dragons, need to do the sewing kit, need to work on the stitch along and the Gecko Rouge. Quite like to finish the Tiny Modernist. I'm not sure about Il Pleur. I'm not sure about Firenze. I'm not sure when I'm going to start Float Like a Butterfly. I think because that's not technically in progress, that can wait for a little while for me. Right, I was going to do a little Patreon update and then a little live update, but if you're not interested in either of those things, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. So Patreon, just to let you know, this month in my Patreon, we're doing a sort of reduce, reuse, recycle kind of theme. There are posts up there. I think there's a public post just talking about different ways you can use fabric, repurpose fabric, with links to all sorts of really inspirational people. There's a blog, no there's not, there's a video of me talking about different sources of fabric for repurposing, and also showing off some of the projects that I've made over the years, which have been great for repurposing old fabric. There is a chart which is free if you're on the top tier and available to purchase to any of my Patreons, for the Pringles can finish that I did a number of years ago. Life is the Most Wonderful Fairy Tale. When I stitched that, it was long before I'd ever thought of being a cross-stitch designer, and I didn't stitch it in a way that would make it a suitable design. I just used all kinds of odds and ends of floss and, you know, about 57 different colours, and I did it very specifically to give it a particular finish to fit precisely around the Pringles can. The chart that is available is slightly amended so that you could use it for kind of any sort of drum finish, or you could put it in a frame or whatever, and a slightly simplified colour palette for that. So that's available. Coming soon, again, this is in the have filmed and it's all slightly fallen apart thing, is a pattern / tutorial for making bunting birds, which is partly you can use that for recycling, repurposing, but also there are little cross-stitch charts if you want to do cross-stitch versions of those. So hopefully if I get time this afternoon, I'm going to try and refilm some of that. And then this is the thing that I'm very excited about. And I hope that even if you're not a Patreon member, you might be excited about this too. You do have to be a member because it's happening in the community forum, and those are only available to paid members. I don't seem to be able to change that setting, but you can be at the $1 a month membership and have access to this. So hopefully if it's something you're excited about, hopefully that's not too onerous. And yeah. So I've launched what I've called the Upcycle It Challenge. Now, it may be not a surprise to any of you that I have a lot of fabric lying around in my house. I'm not very good at getting rid of fabric, and quite a lot of that is fabric that has come from other things, from clothes or from tea towels or curtains or bed linen or all sorts of things, or stuff that I've picked up in charity shops, at secondhand markets, things where I've just sort of saved part of an item. Maybe I've cut off a trim or the buttons or that sort of thing. And what I thought would be really fun, anyone who wants, who's in the Patreon, can tell me they'd like to sign up for the challenge, and I will send you a package including some things from my stash. So it won't be huge. I'm not planning to just sort of offload all my stash onto you. And particularly if you're overseas, it really won't be that huge because I don't want it to be too heavy. But it will include a couple of pieces of fabric, you know, at least sort of 12 inches square, a number of pieces at a smaller size. So the bigger pieces will have some kind of stability to them, so they'll be cotton or linen, or they might be upholstery weight or whatever. The smaller pieces could be almost anything. There'll be some bits of trim, probably some buttons, anything else that comes to mind. And the challenge will simply be to repurpose that. So you could repurpose it in a whole range of different ways. You could just use it to finish a cross-stitch project. You could use one of the fabrics as a backing for a pillow, or, you know, to give you know, this sort of backing covering a mount board or something like that. You could use the trim to make a bow. You could stitch a button or two on, you know, that, call it good. You could make bunting birds or some other kind of bunting. You could, anyway, there's a whole lot of ideas over there, and I'm really hoping other people will come up with ideas and share things that they're doing. I do plan that there will be some actual prizes, which probably will be online gift cards, so that's easy to send to anyone who wants. So if you think, yeah, I'd really like to be challenged to give that a go, do head over to my Patreon, do sign up. Like I say, you only need to be at the $1 a month tier if that's what you want to be part of. And then in the community forum, check out the Upcycle It post and sign up. I really want to see lots of people doing this and having fun with it. So do join me for that. Right, that's Patreon. Life. Yeah. So if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen me talking a little bit about my health or lack of over the last couple of months. It's been pretty rubbish. I had a sabbatical from work. I, you know, planned 3-month sabbatical, April, May and June. I was supposed to write a book. I was supposed to have some, you know, nice time off. some time to do various other things that I'd got planned. You know, it was going to be great. Anyway, I spent most of it getting ill and a little bit of it getting better. So it's pretty rubbish. I had a terrible GP appointment in February where she told me I had to come off the HRT. She didn't really explain why. I was just sort of frozen in fear because the reason I'd gone on HRT in the first place was I just couldn't function. I couldn't remember things. I couldn't organise myself to do things. I couldn't make decisions. I couldn't think. And so I'd been on HRT since November. And in February, I was told I had to stop. Yeah. I'd also, in that appointment, started the conversation by saying, I think I need to increase my antidepressants. I've been having a really rough time, January and February, and I wasn't really coping. And so for the first time, I've been on and off antidepressants for a long time, but it's the first time I've ever gone and said, I think I need a higher dose. So she did give me the higher dose, but only for 30 days, not on a repeat prescription. At the end of that 30 days, I'd come off the HRT and I was still really in trauma from this previous GP appointment. I could not face going back to the doctor at that stage. So I've then got a lower dose of antidepressants. The HRT is coming out of my system from about mid-April. I'm just falling apart, really. And there's other stuff going on in my life that mean it takes a while for me to work out what's going on and why. And it's not until mid-May that I finally worked out that I could email the GP surgery because I couldn't face phoning them. I couldn't face going and talking to a receptionist and having to say, look, I need to see someone, but it can't be this person whose name I don't know, but was so horrible to me last time. Anyway, so I emailed them and they were very good. They made 3 appointments for me with a mental health nurse, a nice nurse practitioner, and a GP. It took a little while, but over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I was able to have all those appointments. I'm now on the high dose of antidepressants on a repeat prescription. I've been back on the HRT now for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks. And a week ago, it finally kicked in again, and it was just such a relief. So I've been back at work for 2 weeks. The first week, I was really not doing a lot. My boss is very sympathetic, thankfully. This week, I've been a much more back to myself again. And during all of that time, you know, I just did very little of anything. I did do some nice things because I had nice things planned. I had my week in Italy. I had a week painting holiday. I had 1 or 2 other things. It was my birthday, which was lovely. But I spent a lot of the last couple of months wanting to cry all the time, struggling to get out of bed, struggling to look after my dog, struggling to be organised. So, I mean, one of the things I just think I would quite like medical professionals to understand is that they do need to take mental and emotional health really seriously because they have a direct impact on physical health. So, for example, after my 50th birthday, I got sent a letter inviting me for my first mammogram. Fine, it's in the diary, you know, it's in the morning, it's just down the road, I've got stuff on in the afternoon, no problem. Get to about 6 o'clock that evening. Oh, I didn't remember that was today. I just, you know, or when I first went on the HRT, one of the things I was trying to explain to them to try and get them to take it really seriously was it was so bad I was forgetting to take my other medication. I've never done that for, you know, the 15 years I've been on regular medication. But with the menopause, I was just forgetting, sometimes 3 or 4 days in a row. It's not deliberate, it's not intentional. I know I need the medicine, but I just wasn't able to organise myself to remember to do it. Anyway, it's been pretty grim. And yeah, it's slow to recover, but I'm thankfully getting back to it. And that is the main reason why there's been really very little stitching and very little floss tubing, because I haven't had the capacity to do it. Yeah, which is rubbish. You know, I've been not dealing with normal everyday work for 3 months. I've had loads of time to do stuff. And after the first 2 weeks or so, while I still had some of the drugs in my system, I've really done nothing. Anyway, my work are very good, and we've agreed I can have another month off in the year, sort of in lieu of when I might have been on sick leave rather than sabbatical. So that's good. And the summer is usually quieter for us anyway. And I've got some annual leave as well. But it's just not been great. Anyway, I am on lots of medication now because there's physical stuff going on as well. There's one drug that I'm on that we need to increase the dose. But everything else I think I'm on now is stable, and then we'll check how it's going in a couple of months and review, and hopefully nobody will say, you must come off the HRT, you must come off it now. And one of the things that made it worse was, you know, she, I think she was a locum. She looked at the computer screen for 90% of the appointment. And the only time she really looked me in the eye was when she was saying, you must come off the HRT, you must come off it now. It's not really okay, especially not when I've already told her I'm not dealing well, I need more antidepressants. Just maybe think that through a little bit. The mental health nurse, when I saw her, she did say, so if you wanted to, you could raise a complaint. Can I tell you how you do that? I'm like, yeah, I know. I just, at that point, I couldn't even face doing that. And I saw the nurse practitioner and she's like, so just tell me who this GP was. And I'm like, I don't really know her name. And she's like, was it this person? I'm like, I don't think so. She's like, oh, I see. No, it's this person from out of practice, which I think is a locum. Yeah, so I have a feeling she may not be invited back because they were pretty unimpressed when I told them what happened. So anyway, that's where I am. I am back at work. I am back at home mostly. I am doing some stitching. I'm trying not to lose everything. Hopefully it won't be quite so long before we're back on Flosstube. Thank you so much for sticking around, those of you who have and who've watched this. And yeah, I can't remember how I end videos. Anyway, bye. Nice to see you.